All right. So, good evening, everybody. And unfortunately, I believe that there's a fair bit of traffic, and I don't know what all happening out there, probably due to load shedding. And as I've just said now, before we started the recording, let's just begin by saying it's 29 August 2023. Time is now 19 hours 15. So I'm starting 15 minutes late. Yet again, this seems to be a trend when it comes to Zoom meetings. And even though the group is 70 odd strong, the numbers that turn out on Zoom meetings is a little bit low, which is unfortunate because even though everybody will be able to benefit from the video recording that is published either on the Constantia Kloof YouTube channel, or if I might decide to put it up on the Disaster Relief Cert channel, YouTube channel specifically, because this one in particular is concerning disaster relief planning or planning for disasters within the Constantia Kloof and surrounding areas. So that being said, many people will actually sit back and say, I'm shouting at them. This seems to be a common trend that comes out, and I think it is mainly because of the fact that, somebody pointed out to me today that, Chad, you in actual fact don't work on a cell phone. People are used to voice notes and that via the cell phone, whereas you've got a full-blown audio-visual sound mixing desk that you operate from. So the quality of sound is a lot higher, and it does tend to be reasonably loud. So on that basis, if you think I'm shouting, please turn your volume down. I'm not going to apologize. If I do start shouting, believe you me, the next door neighbors will know about it as well. That being said, let's jump straight in. Initially, I will edit this part of the video out. I want to put it as a little bit of a separate with a new introduction. In the last 2 weeks, several members of the residents of Constantia Kloof and surrounds raised a couple of questions with regards to the CK Anti-Crime WhatsApp group, which I'm one of the administrators on, along with the Constantia Kloof and surrounds a WhatsApp group, also just on 500 members strong at the moment. The disaster area preliminary disaster planning assessment document that I did for Constantia Kloof gives us a demographic of 1,600 houses, and therefore that is a potential number of people that we should have up on the groups, in particular the anti-crime group. Now, with regards to the anti-crime group, the group is not a security group at all. It is a group where the residents of Constantia Kloof and surrounds can come together, they can gather together, and they can share all incidents of suspicious activity, whether it is a motor vehicle that's standing there, that could be scouting, that could be monitoring, that could be could be up to basically anything, or even if it is a suspicious person, for example, guys looking over walls, maybe climbing walls, stopping in at gates, rattling gates, that type of thing. So the CK Anti-Crime Group is designed to give the residents of Constantia Kloof a platform whereby they can share potential security risks, number one. Number two, the CK Anti-Crime Group is designed to allow residents who choose to post any current, and I take note of the word current, crime activity. For example, I've got somebody that just jumped over my wall. I've got somebody that's breaking in, what. It doesn't make a difference. But it must be current. It must be now. Not in 10 minutes back or even 15 minutes ago. It must be a current situation. Now, the advantages of both of the reports and posts will in actual fact make other residents in Constantia Kloof and the surrounding areas aware of what one considers suspicious. So a suspicious person with a full description might disappear in street A but reappear in street C. Members of the anti-crime group on street C would then have been alerted to this, and they could in actual fact escalate it yet again. The same with the break-in. Break-ins, yes, we got this type of vehicle. This is the registration number. Now at least we know where we can, in actual fact, as a community, monitor the movement of those vehicles. I also need to just point out that the CK Anti-Crime Group, following many hours of discussions with all of the security service providers, private security service providers within this area at different levels, they are all on the CK Anti-Crime Group for your benefit, and they are under no obligation to react or respond to any post that a member of the residents, the residents post. The reason for this is, in order for you to get a response from a private security service provider, you should in actual fact be contracted to them, and your first step would be to activate the panic button, and then you can post it on the group for the benefit of the other service providers and for the community as a whole. So that being said, the first area of concern is, but I'm with company A, why must company B, C, D know about it? It's quite simple. We cannot operate on our own. When a suspicious vehicle is, even a vehicle that's attempting to do a break-in, is reported and other security service providers and residents become aware of it, they are extra ears, eyes, hands that can actually be involved in a takedown or apprehending the suspects, especially if it is an act of break-in, armed robbery, home invasion, or otherwise. So it doesn't make a difference at the end of the day who in actual fact would make an arrest. I think you as an individual should be rest assured that even though you are contracted, not subcontracted, but contracted to a security service provider, that in the event they are dealing with one, let's say, perpetrator and three others run off in a different direction, well, there's other security companies then that can take them down. Hopefully your goods will be recovered. I think that's the short version of it. I can go on for 2 hours. Now, the other main concern that keeps coming up, but how do I know when I admit somebody to the group that they are not a criminal? I don't, but nor do you. And without being facetious, I speak straight. I don't beat about the bush. It's quite simple. When you joined the group and I admitted you, how do I know that you're not a criminal? You see, we need to really be realistic in terms of what we are doing here, and we need to also appreciate and accept our basic human rights, our constitutional rights, that everybody is free to do anything, especially on a public platform like the CK Anti-Crime Group, or even the Constantia Kloof and Surrounds Group, plus many others. And the analogy that I would like to utilize to demonstrate why it is important that we don't consider that. Look, it's possible. I'm the first one to admit it. It is possible that we do get criminals on the group. Well, if there are any, let them know then that the rest of the community has got eyes on the community, and they're not going to get away with it. That's the purpose of the group. You know, when you moved into the house where you are currently staying, did your neighbors come to you and vet you? In other words, ask you for your name. They don't need to know your address because your address is in public. It's whatever house number on that street. That's public knowledge. But did they ask you for your name, a copy of your ID book, your ID number, your criminal record, and your fingerprints? Did they expect you to take fingerprints? And vice versa. When you moved in, when the guy across the road moved in, for example, did you go over there and demand from him his name and his ID number and his criminal record and his fingerprints in order to determine whether he was a criminal? So the short end of the stick with regards to this particular subject, before I move on with the actual subject tonight of disaster relief planning, is quite simply the following. In a public platform, any area that is public, one, it's not subject to POPI or Protection of Personal Information Act, and that argument should not even be considered. One of the reasons I wanted to do the video, because every 2 or 3 months the conversation comes up, then the group gets aggravated because 500 people have already gone through it for the benefit of 6. Now I can actually tell 6 people, go watch the video. At the end of the day, You and I, whoever you are, can meet at Spar across the road, if we are all here in Constantia Kloof, and we can discuss anything we want to in the parking lot, inside of Spar, inside of Clearwater. It's in the public domain. And that's exactly what the CK Anti-Crime Group is there for, with an exception that in order to keep the group clean and to ensure that it's not abused and residents don't keep on getting pinged or getting messages that are unnecessary, you report the incident, you be quiet, you wait and see if any of the response officers acknowledge it or respond, and you wait for feedback, nothing else. We don't give thumbs ups and thank yous and running commentaries and other comments, etc. That's not the purpose of the group. So that being said, I'm actually going to end the subject on the anti-crime group. And as there is only one person that has joined for the planning, I'm going to proceed with the planning and give the basic. This is the beginning of the discussion. So for the benefit of the community, they're more than welcome to go and watch it. And yes, when I have posted it, if I posted on the Constantia Kloof and Surrounds group, there are meetings with other people as well, with other organizations. One of them in particular, there's a 3-part series where I lost it. I blew my top completely. And I'm not going to apologize for it, because at the end of the day, it was something that was needed. And needless to say, the next 2.5 hours were actually a very productive meeting. And I really pray that the guys will, in actual fact, take to heart the matters, the issues, the concerns, and all the other aspects that were discussed as a public forum meeting with them, and that they will, in actual fact, move forward and there can be development and growth on that. So if you do come across that video, you are forewarned that at the end of the day, I lost it. There comes a time that enough is enough. I am a human being. I represent myself in a personal capacity as Chad Milam, but I also represent myself as a director of MCOM Pty Limited, which is a two-way radio communications company with the sole and principal object of bridging the communications gap between communities and services. And then, of course, the third one is my position as director of Disaster Relief CERT, CERT being an acronym for Community Emergency Response Teams.